Hi, everyone. Megan here from Romance by the Book with the lovely Marielle.
Hello.
And our special guest for February's Book of the Month is our author, Kimberly Lemming. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
We had such a great time reading your book. Your fantasy world was so much fun, and the characters just like jumped right off the page, and we loved it.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm
as
so
a
happy to
person who
hear.
had a terrible time with beginnings, the year beginning was so fun. Like immediately sucked me in. I was like, "Yep, this is what I need."
Yes, absolutely. And also, it's so funny. And that kind of leads to my first question for you, which is when did you discover that like comedic writing like really worked for you?
So here's the thing. I had no plans when I wrote Drunk Demon. It actually wasn't supposed to be a comedy. I just wrote how I thought I would react to situations. And then when I started showing it to my beta readers, like, this is amazing. It's like a fantasy rom-com. And I'm like, I wasn't trying to be funny, but all right. Yeah, let's do that. So for the second draft, I just pumped it up even further.
Awesome.
That's
Can't
awesome.
wait to read
So
it.
that means your first go around, it was I guess you did the Dolly Parton thing, like figured out who the book was and then did it on purpose.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it worked out great.
I just can't be serious for more than a paragraph, really. So it worked out.
I guess speaking of that, we in before we logged on, we talked a little bit, and I had mentioned that I really appreciated how the world was built in such a way that even though it was a fantasy, they did like confront some pretty serious issues that were happening in the world, some that they weren't even aware of before they like kind of came face to face with them.
Mhm.
But the book never lost its fun. Like it never felt like heavy or like you wanted to like step away from what you were reading even though there were some heavy things that they were confronting. How did you balance that, or did you have to work hard at all to like get that balance right?
No, I think because I was sort of writing that book as like a therapeutic release for myself, I was dealing with a lot of issues at the time. Like before we turned on the mics, basically, I mentioned that the George Floyd trials were happening at the same time, and I was just deeply depressed and dealing with a lot of stuff. And so I usually deal with things with humor. And so when I put dark things in the world, I thought, well, how would I react to the situation? The answer was probably with some snarky comment or a joke. And so I just kept it rolling like that.
Yeah, it was super fun. I also just even how this there were some secondary characters who were like complicit in some of what was going on, but as soon as they found out the the truth of what they were doing, they were very willing to just kind of like, oh, whoops. Obviously not the whole world, but like the people we
Mhm.
cared about were,
Right.
even when they were wrong, they were like, oh shoot, let me fix
And
that.
that's just desperately what I wanted to see in the world. It's just like, oh, I have been complicit in something terrible. Now that I know better, I'm going to do better. What a concept.
I was
Yeah.
like, who knew you could have a solution like that?
Sometimes it doesn't have to be a big character arc. It can be like, oh my God, I didn't know. Let me help.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It
Usha
was
is
great.
such a great
Even
character.
seeing all the demons react to her, like, in there, all like, "Oh, wait, you're helping us? Okay."
All right, bet. All right, we're allies. Let's do this. Let's
Well,
steal a
and
boat.
that was really funny
So fun.
when Felix was sitting there eating and he's like telling her all these like terrible, scary things about the like snake guy. And he's like, "Oh, you're still gonna wake him up?" And she's like, "Yeah, dude. Like, have you not been paying attention? Like, yes, I'm scared as hell, but I'm still gonna wake him up. Like, this
Well,
is happening."
that was actually really fun for me to write because Felix was testing her in that moment. He was being very upfront with what Ambrose was, and he wanted to see what Cinnamon would actually do. Because yeah, he's a werewolf, but he knows for a fact he's not nearly as terrifying as Elimia. So when Cinnamon was just like, "No, we're still gonna help him," he's just like, "All right, whatever you need, I got your back." That's all I needed to see.
Yeah, it was fun, and funny, just the way that I mean, I felt like that was the probably her bravest moment because she was like, "All right, like, number 1, hate snakes. Number 2, like, I've just been told exactly how scary and, like, volatile this creature is, but here we go." And even the way she like, dealt with him specifically where she's like, "Okay, well, I got some chicken wings and" well, it was nachos. "I got some
Nachos, yeah.
nachos, and also, please don't hug me
Please
so
don't
bad."
squeeze me to death.
Yeah.
No, I love that moment for Cinnamon because I feel like that was the moment where she decided fully that she's going to embrace the hero thing. Because beforehand, she was still very wishy-washy and sort of just like, man, this demon's hot, but also I don't want to die. But once she saved those two and saw how Felix was being abused, she's just like, damn it. All right, I guess I'm a hero now. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yes, I started this thing. Now I got to finish it. And so that actually kind of leads to my next question, which was, did you always want to write fantasy, or was that just something that like happened?
Always. I always loved fantasy. Fantasy romance has always been my favorite. I don't think I have the attention span for contemporary because I need a lot of outer conflict in order to pay attention. So,
That's fun. And I guess it's interesting because even though romantic fantasy has been around for a long time, it's like having a moment
Oh
now.
yeah.
And I guess for a lot of writers, like sometimes it's hard to decide whether, I think for people, it's hard to decide whether they're going to write to like what looks like it might be successful out there versus writing um, what feels right for you.
mhm.
Did you have any expectations when you first like put this book out into the world or the series?
Not a one. I literally just quit my job and like, I'm going to do this for some self-help. And so, yeah, my husband was just like, yeah, quit your job, take a month or two off, just rest. He told me to rest. I heard take like 3 days off and start writing a book because I cannot sit still. So, yeah, I just wrote whatever made me happy or whatever story I wanted to see, shared it with my friends. They helped me edit it. And I think he did like a one pass for spelling errors. I did not think this through and then just posted it up on Amazon. And thankfully, a bunch of readers found it right away. It's just like, hey, here's some mistakes. Here's how you can fix it. And so I just like worked with them and just like re-uploaded it, fixed some spelling errors, figured out how to actually format a book because it was garbage. And then it just kept like growing more and more. And it was so fun to me because it wasn't like I was just by myself anymore. It's just like the readers I found, just like, oh, here's how you upload to Amazon. Here's how you do this. And so by the time the second book came out, it was like a whole community behind me, helping me. And it was just
Oh, that's
amazing to
awesome.
see.
That's
I have a tiny question. Do
Mhm,
you say your husband read for spelling errors
mhm,
and he did not give you any advice that like was terrible? My husband reads stuff for me sometimes and he reads really slow.
mhm.
The advice he gives me is not generally wrong. It just happens after I gave up and decided to like send it somewhere that I feel like important.
Well, he understands that he's very much not the target audience for the type of books I write. And so he would have a few world building questions that I fixed, which
Uh-huh.
thank goodness. But other than that, he just sort of left the story alone. He's just like, you're so silly. Whatever. I'm sure if your friends love it, somebody else will love it. Let's just do this. Also, you cannot spell worth a damn.
I will say though, like it's a whole lot of others that loved it, which must be so fun to like put something out there and then see people. Because I first heard about the series through Bonkers Romance, maybe they
Mhm.
had mentioned it on their pod, and I feel like it was pretty kind of organic. Like you heard it like from somebody.
Yeah, I
Um,
was surprised at how much people were spreading it around because I didn't pay for ads or anything. And suddenly I turned around, it was like this whole team behind me. I'm like, oh my gosh, when did y'all get here?
That's actually a perfect segue to my next question, which is how did it feel for you to basically like make it on your own with this series and have it be fully your own and then have a publisher come calling and be like, actually, we want to give you some more money and publish this book so you can find it in a bookstore. Like that must have been crazy.
I mean, it was crazy and also terrifying because it was like such a stark rise. And I feel like I'm bragging when I say that, but like part of the reason I signed up with the publisher is because I couldn't really handle the pressure of doing everything on my own. Because again, I had no clue how to publish anything, I had no resources. And so the
there's
more
a
that,
lot to do too for
yeah, there's so many hats you got to wear. And so I was trying to figure out how to do translations because I started getting more and more foreign fans who would ask me to translate it. And that was, of course, so expensive. And I'm like, oh, well, if I join with the publisher, maybe I could do it that way. Or maybe they could like help ease some of this tension because I was wearing so many hats to the point where it's just like I was not sleeping.
oh,
So thankfully, when I signed up with Joe Fletcher, I ended up getting an agent right after. And so the agent is what really saved me because she took the time to explain the actual industry to me. She's just like, Even if I'm not on your first contract, you can call me with anything and I got your back. And finally having someone in my corner that would just explain everything that I was feeling, it was just, oh, such a relief.
That's
So
awesome.
I recommend to any new author going into trad, don't do it without an agent because they really do have your best interest at heart.
That's great advice.
Yeah, I was gonna ask too, oh shoot, my brain things are disappearing as I speak. But I was gonna ask you if you had had been writing before or had considered publishing before this series.
So I used to write comic books like
Oh,
all throughout my childhood. I would just sit there and write all these mangas and everything. I never wrote an actual book. I wrote shorts, but I just decided to give it a go this time. And that was the first book I ever wrote like in full.
that's awesome. Also, you have a very irregular career as a writer
Yeah.
in like the very best way.
Yeah. I was in the Air Force as a truck driver for a while. I was a technical artist or making casino games. Before that, I was an illustrator making casino games. And I was also a cashier. So it's just like I didn't. Oh, and then I was an electrician's apprentice for a while.
Oh wow.
So yeah.
Does that
So
come in
you've done
handy,
lots
like
of
when things
research.
happen at your house?
Oh no, I only made it a year because
Oh.
I can't deal with medic construction. It was the grossest job. And I'm like, I can't actually.
That's funny. Did I hear that you did your first cover, like you did the art for your first cover too?
Mhm. The
Yeah,
original covers for Mead Mishaps are the ones I painted.
that's awesome. So like all the hats really you were wearing.
Yep,
Yeah.
all the hats, all of them. But I was so tired.
Well, we're glad you stuck it out because
Yeah,
we had an
definitely.
excellent time with this series.
I'm so glad.
It's been so much fun. I really we had done like a motorcycle club book for January and it was like very gritty, like very, like dark in some parts. And so like coming into this was just like a like it was like
I'm so
the sun
happy to
on your
hear
face and you were like, yes, magical. I love it.
it.
So I have something I always ask everybody we interview, which is what is your favorite trope to read?
Touch her and die. I love it. Like, especially if it's just like a morally gray God who has very little understanding of human emotion, but he's just so obsessed that he can't help himself. Oh, it's my favorite thing in the world.
I guess with Fallon, you saw that kind of from the start.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
Cinnamon did have to like explain that like maybe death was a little too
Maybe
far
it's
for
a
some of
little
the
like one step
situations
too
that she
far.
found herself in.
Maybe chill out a little bit if you could.
Like you broke his arm, that's fine. But like
I
let's
feel
stop
like
there.
that's the key. Again, he just slapped me. You proceeded to rip his arm out of the socket. Maybe that's enough.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But
That whole
he
scene,
did burn the city down, and that was just right.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that was
Well, she got electrocuted. If I got electrocuted and my dragon boyfriend did not burn down the city responsible, I would break up with him.
Yeah,
yes. Like,
as you
what are you
should.
doing here? You can fly. Like, fix it. That's amazing. And so the third book, I guess, is coming back out in paperback the beginning of March, right?
Hmm.
So that's exciting. And then were you able to have input with your new covers? Because obviously the covers were important to you. You made them yourself the first time. So I was curious how that transition went for you.
Oh yeah, I was a complete diva. Like I'm sure they were so sick of me by the end of it because they were still going back and forth on what they wanted to do.
Mhm.
And so I basically found the artist myself. I'm like, great, you're going to use him. Her hair is going to be pink, and I want it based off this and that. And yeah, and they're just like, oh,
Oh,
okay. But no, I found Mike because he did a wonderful Baldur's Gate 3 art.
mhm.
And I like scrolled through all of his past work to make sure he could draw Black people, make sure he could draw fantasy. And I was so impressed with literally everything. And he just knocked it out of the park in a way I couldn't even believe. I love those covers.
They are
They're great.
gorgeous and so true to like the book
Yeah.
Mhm.
that
He really captured their emotions. I was impressed.
Mhm. I wonder if it was easier though for the publishers to have somebody who knew exactly what they wanted versus like
Vibes.
someone who like
Yeah.
yeah
Oh no,
Like, I'll
it's
know it when I see it. Feels
Yeah.
like it might be more difficult.
yeah, that was not me at all. Like, last month actually, Berkeley wanted me to give them ideas for the Alien book that I'm writing with them. And I'm guessing they would just assumed I would do vibes. No, I painted like a whole board of what each character looked like, their outfits, descriptions of the personality. I said I wanted this fat pink T-Rex chasing them throughout of it. I just like gave them like a list of different things that could be on the cover. He's like, you don't have to pick
Right.
all
It
of
doesn't have to be
them,
all of them.
but these are important. Poor Essie is just like, okay, Kim, we got it. We're gonna call Mike.
That's amazing.
I'm just like, I
I
warned you
mean,
I
they
could be a
did
diva.
ask you, right?
Yeah.
If they
Yeah.
ask.
Well, and hey, like you're an artist too, so you have opinions. Like that's not surprising.
Oh yeah. I'm so over the top with it. My agent even put it in my contract. You're like, no, no, no. She's gonna, you guys, please just give her the input. She's never gonna let it go if you don't.
Yeah.
For everyone's well-being. That's funny. And so is Etsy Soga is your editor at
Mhm.
Berkeley? Because I feel like she did a lot of like some of my favorite books from Kensington when she was at Kensington. So that's exciting to know.
Oh, I'm so excited to work with her. Her humor is so similar to mine. And especially with the Alien book, I didn't really know how far was gonna be too far for Trads. I would be emailing her all these questions. She's just like, Kim, just go. My motto for your book is anything, nothing is too far. And everything you've sent me has been hilarious. Please just go. Do whatever you want. We'll figure it out after you send me the full draft.
Awesome. Yeah, I
So
guess this is the
excited.
first time you're writing a book starting off with a publisher versus like
Yeah.
doing it on your own. So yeah, that I'm sure that is a weird transition at first.
Yeah, especially with the last book in Mead Mishaps, even though I was technically tried by that time, I didn't really get a lot of input from my editor. She's just like, no, no, it's your series, do what you want, which I love. But this time with a brand new series and like a brand new uh imprint, I should say, well, not that place new, but new to me, I should say. I'm just like, I don't really know where the line is, so just let me know.
Yeah. I mean, I guess in those cases you're in a bit of a partnership. I would
Mhm,
imagine that you want to make sure that like I mean, I would, but
mhm.
also I overthink, so I would I would be like, too much, enough, what are we doing? Um, I guess I should ask the question that I usually ask all of our authors, and that's if we were a fly on the wall when you were in the middle of your uh or deep into your writing, what would we see?
Like in my draft or
Or just no, you writing.
Your environment.
oh, well, a lot of pink usually. Um, I wonder if no, because we're on a podcast, that doesn't work. So, oh, I am so very extra, and so even like my Cintiq pen that I use to draw is held by a knight kneeling down to me.
Oh, wow.
That's amazing.
It's presented to you.
Of course, it's
Perfect.
presented. I usually have K-pop music going in the background or just like any instrumental stuff because I usually can't listen to words I understand when I write because then I'll just be like, what are they talking about? I can't do it. It drives me nuts. But yeah, just that. A lot of coffee, a concerning amount of coffee. And at some point during the day, I'm probably just gonna scream and wander off into the woods because I can't take it anymore. Then come back.
I love it.
It seems pretty healthy
So,
actually. Like walk away.
Yeah,
yeah,
just walk
don't get back.
away. We'll go back. All right, we're here. We got the screams out. What were we doing? Fighting a dinosaur. All right, here we go.
So if we were a fly, we'd have to be ready to follow you
Oh
in
yeah,
motion.
I do not stay still. So be prepared to go on a walk.
Got it. Oh,
Marielle's dog would love that. She's all about
absolutely.
her walkies.
I tried to sleep in this morning and I woke up to like a nose
Of
right now.
course, I get woken up at 4 a.m. because my dogs decided it was actually 7 when they should have breakfast. And I'm like, if you don't get the hell out of my room, I swear to God.
It's still dark. Did you not notice?
You don't see the darkness outside? Yes, but we want munchies now. Wake up.
Like it feels like breakfast time. No,
That
mine.
reminds
I
me,
tell people mine is gently bossy. She's
like
usually like
booping you, like, hello, pay
Mhm.
attention.
Yeah, she doesn't like bark at you very often, but she'll like put her head under your covers and like
Oh,
poke you in the side, like, hey, you
Bandicoot will
up?
Pay
do
attention to me.
his polite morning boof where it's not a full bark, it's just boo, boo, get up.
That's funny. Like a little whisper
Mhm.
bark.
Yeah. That reminds me of the author Catherine Nolan always talks about her dog and how his dinner time is 5 o'clock. And around 3 o'clock, he starts giving them the stare, like, you better remember that my dinner is soon. And she's like, not for 2 hours, like, I'm working, leave me alone. Just staring her down.
That's too funny.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well,
And
we are very happy that we read this book. It was everything we wanted it to be and more. We hope all of you guys out there watching enjoyed it too. And books 2 and 3 are currently in ebook already, and book
and
2 is actually
audio.
paperback and audio. And book 3 will be out early March. And yeah,
And you're
it's
working
awesome.
on an alien.
I am.
So
I got abducted by aliens and now I'm trapped in a rom-com.
Oh my God, that's
that
right.
sounds funny. Have you read Anna Greery's alien book?
No,
Like
what's that one?
she the
Strange
Strange
Love.
Love.
Oh, I listened to the Heaving Bosoms podcast episode about it.
Is that alien is that like an alien?
Oh yeah.
That is an alien.
Yes.
But
Mine are
there's
not
a
that much
talking
alien.
dog, so I could not
Very
ever refuse.
Mine does have a talking lion.
Awesome.
Ooh,
Love it.
I will also be in. Where should the people find you? You're
You can find me anywhere under Kimberly Lemming. I'm most active on Instagram and TikTok. And I also have a Facebook. I don't use it, but it is there should you ever want to find me there.
That's
And
amazing.
do you have a newsletter or anything?
I do. You can find that on my website, kimberlylemming.com.
Okay.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. We really enjoyed talking to you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
See y'all next month.
See ya.
Bye.